The news from 12:45 to 2 p.m. only on RCI. On RCI.
You got a smile so bright. You know you can.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. It's a rainy Monday here in St. Lucia. It's the 20th of January 2025 and this is program number 1307 of the Lunchroom. I'm your host, Calix George Jr. Now, of course, in addition to radio, 101.1 FM, you can also get us at our website, rcistlucia.com, and you're also streaming live on Facebook. You just have to search for the official page of Radio Caribbean International, and please be sure to like and share that as well with your friends and family. And of course, if you want to call in a bit to tell us what's on your plate, the number to do so is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. That's our main number here. And you can also reach us on WhatsApp. That is 724-0008. You can call in. You can message in as well on WhatsApp. Again, that number is 724-0008. Now, today, we're going to take a little bit of history for the day. And of course, it is a day of inauguration. Quite a number of presidents inaugurated, of course, on this day. Back in the 1945, U.S. President FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, was sworn in for an unprecedented and never to be repeated fourth term as a U.S. president. Also, Ronald Reagan was inaugurated as the 40th president on this day in 1981, and also Barack Obama, 44th president of the United States. And of course, right now, witnessing the swearing in for the second time, Mr. Donald Trump. We can also look back in time to the year 1841. China ceded Hong Kong to the British on this day. During the first Opium War. It was eventually returned back in 1997. In the year 1921, the Republic of Turkey was declared on this day from the remnants of the Ottoman Empire. In 1942, on this day, Nazi officials held the notorious Wannsee Conference on the outskirts of Berlin to organize what was known as the Final Solution, extermination of Europe's Jews. And of course, it is also the peak of Nobel Laureate Month, heading into this coming week, of course, and the upcoming Nobel Laureate lectures are on, amongst other events being put on by the Nobel Laureate Committee. And to discuss one particular event coming up, the Sir Derek Walcott Memorial Lecture, being put on by the Cultural Development Foundation. We'll be taking that in just a bit for our dish of the day.
One tiles for your home, I see. Bathroom, kitchen, pantry. Need tiles for your balcony. Come down to Tiles Plus, satisfaction guarantee. Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus. Big tiles with unbeatable cost. Customer service, A+, with all kind of tiles. Come down to Tiles Plus. We also got gasway and vanity. Books, doors, you'll see. Come down to my nobody. We got the best tiles on island. Trust me. We are located Land Street in Castries, Bosses Jugo's Lanes, and Slack Street in Beaufort. Telephone number 453-7939. Tiles Plus.
Serving now, the Daily Dish.
And welcome back to our program here for the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. Now, of course, later on we will touch base a little bit about the happenings over in Washington, D.C. But first, we want to zoom in this week in terms of the Nobel Laureate events. Of course, January the 23rd marks the birthdays of the island's two Nobel laureates thus far, Sir Derek Walcott and Sir William Arthur Lewis, both of them born on that same day. albeit 15 years apart. And of course, as a result of that, we have been marking Nobel Laureate Week, and now, of course, it's an entire festival. And one of the staples, however, or if one may say two of the staples of it, has been the respective memorial lectures that are put on every year as part of this event. And the Cultural Development Foundation is front and center in putting on one of these, the Sir Derek Walcott Memorial Lecture. And I'm so very pleased that we have Mr. Kendall John, who is here as the Communications Director of the CDF, to share some insights into why you need to be at the Finance Administrative Center tomorrow evening for this upcoming lecture. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, and good afternoon to you.
Now, this, of course, Kendall, has been a pretty standard event, and sometimes lectures, and you have this idea of a lecture, and then some people think, well, no, I'm not going to spend 2 hours or 3 hours listening to somebody. But why are these still events, these lecture series, still very important each and every year?
Yes, well, the CDF has been hosting this event for nearly 30 years, and we understand that there's importance. I mean, people celebrate Julian Alfred, quite rightly so. It comes to the gold medal of athletics, but Sir Derek Walcott, he got the gold medal in inverted commas for literature many years ago, in 2017. And so I think we cannot lose view of that at all. It's a monumental achievement, 1992, when he got that Nobel Laureate Prize. And so CDF is part and parcel in trying to keep our culture alive. And this is, of course, now part of our culture, something that we can brag about, something that we can promote, a literary aspect of our culture. And so we have to do everything in our power to promote it. And the lecture is one part of that puzzle, where we encourage people to come out and hear different viewpoints of Derek Walcott's work. So every lecturer comes and they bring a different spin on it, as you like, you know. There's something in it. His work will be timeless, but everyone will give a different perspective on it. And there's something that you can take away with you and say, I can relate to that part. And some people think, you know, his writing is esoterics above our heads. Yesterday, I just sat down and I read three poems to my daughter. Now, you know, she's 14 years old. She's into TikTok. Yeah. But I said, you know,
Not yet banned in St. Lucia.
not that banned. But I just read a couple poems, and you know what she said? When I chose some of these poems, she said, I can relate to that. And that just tells me that, hey, there is something in it for everybody. And I think we are not doing enough to appreciate what we have in St. Lucia. And this, of course, is just one small part of CDF is doing. And so tomorrow at 7:30, we're hoping that, you know, St. Lucians come out. It's a free lecture. They come out and attend this lecture. Of course, is presented by Aishan Hutchinson, a well-renowned poet himself.
Now, of course, before we even get to that, it's interesting that you were saying this yesterday. You're reading poems to your daughter. Yesterday, I had the opportunity for the first time to actually meet an individual who, in fact, was very active many, many decades ago in the portrayal and in actually performing many of the plays written by Sir Derek Walcott, as well as his twin brother, Roddy Walcott. and I speak to Miss Ruth Fibbles, who's in fact, I think we can allow her to say her age, 94 years old.
You're allowed to say that.
And it's I mean, remarkable. And I was relating to her that I had only known her because my grand aunt had also been part of the St. Lucia Arts Guild, Miss Sonia George, and I knew they had actually performed back in the day, and I remember finding one of the old manuscripts that she had. It was a play called The House of Bernarda Alba, right, which is by a Spanish playwright.
Okay.
But you know the point I'm coming to is that they were performing these plays before, of course, rightfully so, plays from around the world. But then the ability now to be able to perform plays from your very own playwrights, born here, creating scenes in Castries, in Grosley, in Dauphin, in spaces that we can identify with today is so very important. And that point you're making about your daughter now, many years on, I mean, Sir Derek has since passed, transitioned on to the great beyond, but she can still identify with what he is talking about today. Is so very, very important.
Absolutely. And I even was giving her tips, and she wanted to write. He got inspired to write a poem. I said, what about trying that style? And notice how he used the metaphors. And she said, I'm going to try. In fact, today she said she was going to try and write the poem. So I'm looking forward.
So you're going to see how that goes.
But it inspires. That's the thing. That's about poetry and art. It inspires people to do that. So.
Now tomorrow's lecture, very, very thought-provoking topic: portrait of the prodigal in autumn. Now, I of course, I'm not going to ask you to necessarily dissect what Mr. Hutchinson is going to be speaking about tomorrow, but definitely we want to come to that at some point. But tell us a bit about the presenter, though, Ishan Hutchinson.
Yes, so Ishan Hutchinson is actually, he was born in Jamaica, and he's now a lecturer at Cornell University. He got his MFA in poetry from New York University. And of course, his work has appeared in many articles and reviews. He's won a number of prizes, poetry, Caribbean Review of Books, Poetry International, and Chapbook, Brands Bay. His first collection won the 2011 Penn Joyce Osterweiler Award for poetry. It's also the recipient of the 2013 Whiting Award. And the list goes on and on. You can take your time to read through it. But essentially, he's a man that knows the stuff. And he has connections with Derek Walcott, very personal connections as well. And so he appreciates Derek Walcott's work, and some of the themes that he has in his poetry reflects that of Mr. Walcott. And so that's why it's fitting that he's the one doing the lecture this year. He was hand-selected by the committee.
Indeed. And of course, Derek himself, quite a number of connections with Jamaica and Jamaicans. Of course, he himself did his BA over at University of West Indies, Mona, and an individual who studied his work so very much, of blessed memory now, probably not a couple of years ago, just passed, Mr. Edward Bohr, Dr. Edward Bohr, of course, who I'm not sure if I think he may have actually done a lecture some time back. I can't be too sure, but certainly he was one of Derek's great fans and, of course, contemporaries in that field. And so here we have Ishan Hutchinson, as you mentioned, based over in Cornell, but Jamaican, coming out of Port Antonio, poet, lecturer in the field of literature, coming to be able to provide context tomorrow. Now, of course, that topic, portrait of the prodigal in autumn. Any clue? Has he given any indication of what that might be about?
Well, I think there has been some inclination about it. It's he's talking about the cultural isolation, basically, and Derek wrote about this a lot as well when it comes to his isolation from his culture because of the difference of the locations, etc. The dislocation and that comparison and contrast between his space at that time and what he was grown up in. And so I think there is some link of that in the program, and I think he's going to expound a little more on that and draw that reference. A lot of other themes around that, isolation, loneliness, etc., and the whole idea of autumn tying into that. But I'm not going to preface much of it.
Right.
But it's something that I think St. Lucians will I identify with, because again, we live that experience. It's just that we might not say it as eloquently, but it's our reality. You know, sometimes when we go overseas, and we even myself, when I went and studied in New York, you felt that distance, and you feel that disconnect, and you feel a contrast in your experience as a West Indian and living in a metropolitan country for maybe 4 years. And that's what he captured so beautifully in most of his writing.
And I always, and as you're drawing that point home, the idea of actually coming back for many individuals who quite often have to seek their fame outside of St. Lucia. They have to develop their careers beyond our shores. But when they retire, when they come back at some point, one must wonder whether in fact they do feel as though they're coming back as prodigals.
That's
back onto the island into to some regard. Sometimes even the treatment that they may be meted out in their own land may very well make them feel
like
to that extent as well.
And that's where maybe love after love, the poem comes in comes into play, because you've done so much trying to live out there and please others, and after, when you come back, now you're ready with yourself.
Right.
And that's a conversation you can only have internally.
And sometimes that image of autumn, coming back to the point where it's, you're almost done.
Yes.
You're coming into this phase of the last lap, so to speak.
Right.
So certainly very interesting possibilities, no doubt, that we'll be witnessing tomorrow. It's happening, of course, as I mentioned, tomorrow, Tuesday, at the Finance Administrative Center. That's at Point Seraphin from 7:30.
That's correct.
p.m.
Now, we've done a little differently this year. I mean, CDF is really trying to maybe just change the demographics and demographic that's coming to the lecture, and because we need to get the younger persons involved. And so this time around, we did some social media campaigning online. We have a trivia, and those persons 18 and above can answer the questions, and they get a chance to win, thanks to Sandals, dinner for two. About three different resorts, three different,
Valentine's is coming up,
exactly,
so some people
you know
need to consider these things quickly.
So you might be able to cash in on that, but that's another incentive and that one is just to get people to know a little bit more about your Nobel laureate. All right, and the second one for the 18 and below, we have for the younger ones a reading challenge where they use that excerpt from Derek Walcott, and you record yourself doing it, and likes and some judges, and you can win a prize. Electronic devices, of course. The younger persons are more interested in that. So you have Bluetooth speakers and gaming headphones and stuff of that nature. I think that the younger person might be interested in, and so that's one angle we're going with it this year, because we really need to have this transmission of knowledge. That's what CDF is all about, trying to get the younger persons to be interested in what has gone before and see how they can take it and run with it, to be honest. And even in the schools this time around, we had art initiative where we asked the selected school groups to interpret some poems of Derek Walcott artistically. And so we have those paintings coming in, and they will be actually adorning the lecture hall when you visit.
Oh,
so
okay,
that's
lovely.
and we'll be posting it online as well. So these are little initiatives that we're trying to do to make sure that the younger persons, the younger generation, is interested and buy into this culture that we have, that we find so precious. The younger ones have to appreciate it as well. All right, and that's what we're going to do through CDF mandate, essentially.
Well, that's great to hear that all these side events are tying in to certainly do so. I think I know the St. Mary's College put on their literary night last week, Friday. I'm sure it was a great success. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to actually make it.
It was a fantastic performance, man.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad to know that. And it's, of course, what has become one of the staples as well of the Nobel Laureate Festival over the years. Now, you want to mention any of the other events that are happening? Because I do know that there are quite a number, not necessarily CDF related.
Well, that one, the Nobel, the Nobel Prize, Nobel Laureate Committee, they're the ones.
Well, I think last week, for instance, there was the wreath laying ceremony, I believe, of course, up at the Mon Fortune, where both of our Nobel laureates are in fact interred, and that normally is being put on by the South Louis Community College, and so no doubt that happened on Friday. I also believe that there is an upcoming book fair. This coming Friday, I believe it is up at the South Louis Community College.
Yes, and encouraging, of course, individuals to come up and meet our authors. We have a number of different writers.
Yes, and I believe it's nearly 40 different writers, authors are going to be putting on displays of their books, and you can come in and actually interact with them as well. And of course, the twin to this event, the Sir William Arthur Lewis Memorial Lecture, that's happening on Thursday of this week as well. And I think again that in conjunction with the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. So certainly quite a lot to be taking in.
Yes,
in this event. Yeah. So tomorrow, as we mentioned, Aishon Hutchinson.
That's correct.
Jamaican-born lecturer over at Cornell University. He is going to be putting on that lecture, presenting that lecture, Portrait of the Prodigal in Autumn, as part of the Nobel Laureate Festival.
And one other thing, we're trying to make sure that no one misses out, and so those persons who can't make it to the hall could catch us on the platforms. So we have our YouTube and Facebook pages, and so we can.
So you're going to be streaming live?
We'll be streaming live.
Okay,
and also we have it on NTN Flow Channel 122 and UETV Flow Channel 105. So if you can't make it, you can at least.
So it's going to be online, YouTube,
and on TV,
as well as on TV.
Yes.
This time.
Yes.
So that's really wonderful. And you mentioned UETV, so that means it's actually going to be broadcast across the region.
That's correct.
Oh, that's actually certainly very wonderful news in that regard. And of course, we've been discussing the Sir Derek Walcott Memorial Lecture being presented by Aishon Hutchinson, originally out of Jamaica. Portrait of the Prodigal in Autumn. Last year, I believe it was St. Lucian-born Dr. Travis Weeks.
Yes.
Of course, giving his insight into it. I know a number of St. Lucians have done it over the years. Kendall Hippolyte, I believe, as well, has done it. Dr. Adrian Auger. We've seen. Well, yes, of course, Father. Monsignor Patrick. A number from outside as well. A number of biographers of Derek over the years. Certainly a very, very important aspect of the Nobel Laureate Festival.
Yes, correct.
Well, I think we've covered everything that can be said, except, of course, to ensure that you get down there
as well
tomorrow at 7:30. Because I mean, in as much as it's going to be online, you still want to ensure, no doubt, that there's a good crowd in the audience.
By the way, those persons who want to win the prizes, they have to actually come.
So you got to be there physically.
Yes, you have to physically be there. So I'm just encouraging persons to come out and fill the hall. We want to say a special thanks to our sponsors, the Library Cooperative Credit Union and Sanders, for coming on board to giving us such wonderful prizes, and of course the Nobel Laureate Festival Committee working alongside with us.
Wonderful. And of course, still under the patronage of Dame Paulette Louisy,
Yes.
Governor General Emerita,
Right.
who is still holding the fort and ensuring that this, of course, is happening. Of course, her background as former principal of South Louis Community College, no doubt, has a strong passion in education and development of learning, public education as well. Certainly.
Yes.
So we want to thank her as well for all her efforts, and of course for the Cultural Development Foundation, ensuring that this event, among so many others I know that you have to put on in your calendar, that this is also happening tomorrow as well. So thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me.
And that is our dish of the day today. And we do hope that you can take part in that event happening tomorrow. And again, it's a Derek Walcott Memorial Lecture. It's all part of the Nobel Laureate Festival. I think it's perhaps one of the few places in the world that you actually have anything of this nature. That's St. Lucia, of course, the home of the highest per capita rate of Nobel Prize winners
reason to celebrate
in the world. And of course, definitely a good reason to celebrate, as you rightfully pointed out, those gold medal winners in their fields of economics and literature, respectively.
Absolutely.
Again, thanks so very much to Communications Director at the Cultural Development Foundation, Mr. Kendall John, for taking us through this very exciting lecture that's coming up tomorrow. Hope it's a great one indeed. And that's our dish of the day. When we come back, we'll take in our weather report.
This has been The Daily Dish.
One tiles for your home, I see. Bathroom, kitchen, pantry. Need tiles for your balcony. Come down to Tiles Plus, satisfaction guarantee. Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus. Big tiles with unbeatable cost. Customer service, A+. Need all kind of tiles. Come down to Tiles Plus. We also got gas and vanity. Doors, you'll see. Come down to mind nobody. We got the best tiles on island. Trust me. We are located Lunch Road in Castries, Bosses Jugozi Lanes, and Flag Street in Beaufort. Telephone number 453-7939.
Island style. We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, we'll have to make the right choice. Island style. We got the time that will make you happy. Island style. Oh yeah. We make your dream come alive. In Island style.
We have tiles and thin sets, pieces and ground. Everything you need is on the house out. For the best price and the latest style. Take a little drive down to Island Style Car.
We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, quality rice, service rice. It's all an Island Style.
Visit us at our showrooms in Bellarosa, Rodney Bay, on the John Compton Highway, Castries, and behind Ruby's Gas Station on the Library Viewport Highway. So call us on 450-452 or 453-TILE. Island Style, Tile and Bath. When you think tile, think Island Style.
This is Radio Caribbean International. It's now time for the weather news.
And as of course, the 1.1, it's now time for your weather report as of 12 noon today, presented by Island Style Tile and Bath. The forecast for St. Lucia Valley for the next 24 hours, winds will be blowing from between the east, northeast, and east near 25 miles per hour or 41 kilometers per hour with occasional gusts. The weather fair and breezy, becoming cloudy at times with a few scattered showers. And there is an advisory in average rates of small craft operators and sea beavers are advised to exercise caution due to brisk winds and locally rough seas. The forecast for the Lesser Antilles, fair and breezy, occasionally becoming cloudy with some scattered showers. And the weather summary, moderate to brisk easterly winds and locally rough seas are expected to continue over and around the Eastern Caribbean region during the next few days. Low-level clouds drifting along the wind flow will cause scattered showers across the Lesser Antilles during the forecast period. And this was your weather report as of 12 noon today, presented by Island Style Tile and Bath.
This has been RCI's Weather News. For more information, call the Weather Hotline at 454-3452. RCI 101 number 1.
Island style, yeah. We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, yeah. We'll have to make the right choice. Island style, whoa. We got the time that will make you happy. Island style, oh yeah. We make your dream come alive in Island style.
We have tiles and thin sets, mixes and ground. Everything you need is out the house out. For the best price and the latest style. Take a little drive down to Island Style Car.
We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, yeah. Quality, price, service, choice. It's all an Island Style.
Visit us at our showrooms in Belarus and Rodney Bay on the John Compton Highway, Cass Street, and behind Ruby's Gas Station on the Library Viewfort Highway. Call us on 450-452 or 453-TILE. Island Style, tile and bath. When you think tile, think Island Style.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for a night of passion, mystery, and celebration. Wow Entertainment proudly presents 1,000 Kisses. An enchanted night of sweet whispers, intrigue, and unforgettable vibes. Mark your calendars for Friday, February 14th, 2025, because this Valentine's Day, we're turning up the heat. Join us at the Indies nightclub in Gros Islet for an exclusive experience featuring top-tier music by Lychee Sounds, DJ Hyper D, Rusty Rank, and the electrifying Big People Business Band. Dance the night away from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. in style. The dress code, gentlemen in sleek black and white, and ladies, sultry lingerie awaits you. Ticket starts at just $75 or $85 at the door. Want the ultimate VIP experience? All-inclusive access is yours for $350. Tickets are available at fourcirclestickets.com, The Cell, and Steve's Barbershop. Don't wait. This Valentine's, let's celebrate love, life, and champagne. 1,000 Kisses, where the magic begins.
I hooked on the case of Domino's Pizza. I hooked on the flavor of Domino's Pizza. Always remember, nothing tastes better than Domino's Pizza. And what makes it greater is that we deliver. Service like no other. Prices are better. Always remember, nothing tastes better than Domino's Pizza.
Choose Domino's Pizza with locations in Rockney Bay, Caribbean Cinemas, William Peter Boulevard, and J4.
And welcome back to the lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. Now, of course, first we want to send out some condolences to the family of Mr. Callum De Myers, unfortunately passed recently, and of course to his wife Eve and the entire family at his passing. Unfortunately, he wasn't well for a little while, and I think a rumor had in fact started earlier on that he in fact had passed, but it seems indeed that this time it is real. And now we're going to head to the phone lines at this time to take in some calls to do just that. So, of course, thank you for calling in. Good afternoon. Welcome to the lunchroom. What's on your plate today?
Hello.
Hi, good afternoon, caller. How are
Good
you doing?
afternoon.
How are you doing?
I can hear you fade.
You're not hearing us very clearly?
No.
Oh, I'm not sure why that is the case.
Yeah, but anyway, I'll continue.
Thank you.
Right. My topic today is the road, the fatality on the road, and what we're supposed to do about it. And we want the government to step in, especially they just take, 79 police. So we want 9 more traffic officers on the road. Take that 9 and let 70 go on other duties.
Well, I think it's even more than 9 being deployed to the traffic department from what was said by the island's the police commissioner, Mr. Vern God. Quite a number of those new police officers are in fact being deployed into the traffic department, and I think you may be seeing quite a number of them already on the bikes and getting out there and practicing, getting there themselves in the midst of things.
That is very good. That is good news. Very, very good news.
Yes, certainly, and in fact, there've been quite a number of police exercises on the roads, a number of checkpoints.
Yeah.
So they certainly have been very active since the year has commenced.
Yeah. Well, with the kind of fatality we have on the road today, by tomorrow we probably do something about it, because what we have there is too much young people. The birth rate is going down, and yet we have so much
death.
Young people in
so much loss of
stupidness, shooting each other, and then to get fatality on the road again. Where are we going? Where are we going? What happened to our young people? So what I would like to see, when a young man walks inside a cycle shop, motorbike shop, to buy a motorbike or a motorcycle, he don't leave that shop without protecting clothing.
That's a very good point, caller.
Yeah, you buy your bike, but you going home with helmet, and not even one helmet. You buy two, because the peanut rider must have a helmet. So you're going to plus your all your gear to put on your to protect your foot, because when those chaps fall and have a crash, it's bone versus stomach or concrete.
Yeah,
that's what's going on. So we have to do something. So, and when people like me talk, I don't only talking to the public, I talking to the government as well, because everything, it must be law. Without law, it doesn't take place. You can say it 100, 1,000
that's also very
times.
true.
It won't go nowhere. But when it comes to law, it's law. You breaking the law.
Yeah.
Okay? So let us fix the young men. Put in no other country, I don't think that happening, that people just jump on a bike. And especially we was getting somewhere until Chasney come and go behind a motorcycle without just a jeans and a shirt.
Well, I mean, it was irresponsible for him to do that, but I think it's been a problem that we've had even before that, though.
Yeah, we had the problem,
and
but
so it's
they was trying to press it until it bite. But he make it worse. He make it worse. That man break law by going and sit on a motorcycle without no protecting clothing, and no, that's not on. So the government will have to put a hand in it, make it law that every young man or old man or old ladies that's on a motorcycle, they wearing protective clothing. They wearing it. Or if not, the police will call on you. Yeah, a police will call on you. That is how we will have to do it. That protective clothing can save a man. Just imagine you don't have a helmet and you are on a motorcycle and you come to a crash.
Yeah, you're very correct about the issue of the laws, caller. Many of these laws are dated. They just don't take in a number of the things that are necessary now, that when we see in the modern world, certain things are necessary. And I think the idea regarding the ensuring that you've got a full kit, so to speak, in terms of protective wear might be a pretty good point for consideration. The issue of breathalyzers and drunk driving is another one. Certainly that's another area that requires some very strong consideration. I mean, we do have, I think, laws with respect to seatbelt wearing.
We go on the other side now. The cars, the traffic on the road, that people, once they jump into a car and they put their foot on the pedal, is home they want to reach. They don't go, regardless to anything, is home I'm going. Regardless how many alcohol they have in them. is home I'm going. You see, and sometimes you never reach home. Never reach home.
Very, very
what
unfortunate.
we want to do, the same law applying to the motorcycle, applying to the cars as well. We put in that on. We are applying to the cars that nobody, and I think what we want, Mr. Judge, more is to mark the traffic sign. Okay, mark traffic sign. Let the put, like some, I see a bend when you come into the Grosley Road, Lobede. Before, as soon as you leave the main Grandier Road and you come down that T junction, there's a sharp bend there. Mark the road. You see, if it's not too sharp, you put black and white 2 stripe. A very sharp road, you put 3. I think 3 or 4 stripe. And you know that bend, you're approaching that bend. And once you're approaching that bend, you know it's either you blow your horn that make the incoming vehicle know you are them, you're present, you come in, because they can see you.
Yeah, and that's a very important point. The road markings are very important. The the reflective surfaces as well, especially for nighttime drivers. I mean, we used to have reflectors at some point in some roads. Over time, for all sorts of different reasons, they've disappeared.
Just imagine you approaching a main road coming from a side road, and you don't see no stop major road ahead.
Yeah.
Nothing like that.
Yeah.
They just come, boom. They go in like mad people. They want to reach home, and sometimes they never reach home. So we, the government, have to step in and mark the road. Mark it. We want it marked. We want the road marked. We want St. Lucia Road marked. Good afternoon, Mr. George.
Thanks very much for that appeal, caller. Very much appreciated indeed. And of course, the number to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, it is 452-3046. And you can also message in on our WhatsApp number, that is 724-0008. The point about signage and road markings is very important indeed. And, we may, for instance, be accustomed to driving on certain roads, and perhaps the norms that apply, we kind of know where we need to stop, at what junctions we need to stop, but not everybody may know. And you've got new drivers, you've got visitors on the road. And so, yes, certainly there are some junctions that are a little confusing, and that can very much lead to accidents because some people don't know who has right of way. A good example of that might be the junction near, Old Military Road, heading into the Moshi Road, at around that Shangri-La junction there. That, of course, is another area where sometimes there's lots of confusion, and some people think that the traffic that is heading south along the Moshi Road can just simply swing straight across into Old Military Road. They think that they have right of way. And so, of course, that's a pretty good example of what the caller was pointing at. It's because it's a bit of a Y junction, and when you got these Y junctions, it's not that obvious. T junctions might be a bit more obvious, but not all the time. And even when you do have somewhat of a T junction, it's still a little confusing. You got another situation with respect to the Corinth Norbert Road and the where that intersects with the Corinth Estate Road. Around Riverstone, that's another somewhat of a junction that might confuse people. Some people don't know who has right of way because generally a lot of people are heading along the Corinth Road, so they're taking a left or they're making a right turn lane from the Corinth Estate Road to head in towards by TJ's. So that's another classic example of where sometimes, yes, road markings and signage are certainly very important. So let's indeed hope that the authorities who can make these things happen, in fact, taking note with that respect. We also want to send out some birthday greetings. We weren't able to do that earlier on. We do want to send out some birthday greetings to Dr. Stephen King, who's celebrating his birthday today. Happy birthday to you, as well as his sister Allison King. Happy birthday to you guys. We hope that you're both having blessed and happy birthdays at this time. Also celebrating his birthday today is Dr. Reggie Darius. Not on island, but we certainly do wish him a very, very wonderful birthday as well. And also to Miss Mary Elias, happy birthday to you. Hope you're having a fantastic birthday celebration. Of course, the number to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, it is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. Now, over in the United States, of course, President Trump has been sworn in. It is Inauguration Day over in the United States of America. The event was held at the Capitol, where the Congress meets, and that, of course, was originally supposed to have been indoors. It was shifted inside because of the weather, and so number 47 is now in place, and already there is quite a lot of talk about a number of the executive orders that he has in fact promised to sign on day one. No doubt, as he moves across to the Oval Office in the White House, he will be looking to have those signed off. No doubt we'll be seeing some images of those very soon. One of them, interestingly enough, is on the matter of the Gulf of Mexico. And one of the executive orders he has promised is to rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. And of course, that has been around for quite a while, right? The Gulf of Mexico. It goes back hundreds of years, and it was the name that was provided to that area. And perhaps there was a time when all of even regions like Texas and what is now Southwest United States was all part of Mexico. And that over time, the Mexican-American War, and we saw different conflicts which led to those lands being effectively taken from Mexico and becoming part of the United States of America. The lands adjoining that alongside part of that bay. Now, of course, Mexico still is the shoreline for a significant part of that area, that body of water, which is referred to as the Gulf of Mexico, from the Yucatan Peninsula and into that bay itself. So will it make much of a difference beyond the United States of America? Probably not. I think geographers would probably still be utilizing such names, but in fact, place names do change sometimes over the years, and the names change for a lot of different reasons. So sometimes political reasons. Countries want to change how people identify the country as, and most recently, you may think of Turkey, for instance. They've wanted to insist on the use of the actual name, the Turkic name, how it's written in Turkey. So it's Turkiye. They've done that, but of course, still many people still know the country as Turkey. We've seen that in the instances of places like Burma, that being a British colony for a very long time. They've decided to be recognized as Myanmar. And of course, the list goes on. Cities sometimes also, a number of cities in India have decided to change their names to Indian names or Hindi names. You could think of one was once known as Bombay, all right, and that of course has since been changed as well to Mumbai, Calcutta to Kolkata. So you definitely do have sometimes countries changing the names of places within their territory or within their own space. But to rename bodies of water, well, we'll see how that, of course, all pans out as Mr. Trump seeks to expand U.S. hegemony further and further afield. Of course, we've seen his attempts towards the south with respect to the Gulf of America or the Gulf of Mexico. And we've seen the calls for the 51st state to become that of Canada, albeit there have been many other places which are waiting for statehood, including that of Puerto Rico. They still have not been able to receive statehood there, and that means that they, in fact, do not have the right to vote in general elections. They can't select the president. Perhaps that would certainly change the electoral map somewhat, and but the matter has not moved forward, whether under a democratic representation or Republican representation in Congress. So, of course, as to how things will move forward with respect to Mr. Trump on day one, we'll have to wait and see what comes next in that regard. But of course, he is being criticized by some of the moves that he has already pronounced, especially the matter of immigration. And in fact, quite recently, the Pope has come out and has described planned deportations of immigrants in the United States as a disgrace. Story covered by CNN reads as follows. Pope Francis has criticized U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's plan to deport immigrants as a disgrace. The pontiff, speaking during an Italian television interview, was asked about the incoming Trump administration's plans to expel undocumented immigrants through an aggressive slate of immigration executive orders by the incoming president, who will be inaugurated Monday. Quote, "If it is true, it will be a disgrace because it makes the poor wretches who have nothing to pay the unpaid bill. It won't do. This is not the way to solve things," Francis said during the Sunday interview. The Pope has made advocacy for migrants a key part of his papacy, insisting they should be welcomed and integrated into societies. It's also a topic which resonates personally with Francis. In his new autobiography, the Pope recalled how his paternal grandparents and father had planned to sail in 1927 on the Principessa Mafalda from Italy to Argentina, which sank with the loss of many lives, but ended up making a later crossing. Francis has signaled that he is ready to take the critical approach to the new Trump administration with his appointment of Cardinal Robert McElroy as the next Archbishop of Washington, D.C. McElroy has described mass deportations of immigrants as, quote, incompatible with Catholic doctrine. On Sunday, Cardinal Blaise Cupich of Chicago also criticized the deportation plans. in 2016, Francis suggested then presidential candidate Trump was non-Christian for his anti-immigration views. Francis made his latest remarks in an interview with the talk show Che Tempo Che Fa, broadcast on Nova, which is owned by CNN's parent company, Warner Brothers Discovery. During the interview, the Pope also said he was appointing a nun, Sister Raffaella Petrini, as president of the commission which governs the Vatican City State. Petrini will take over from a cardinal in her new role and is expected to take up her position in March. This appointment follows the Pope's decision earlier this month to appoint the first female leader of a Vatican department. The Pope also said that his arm, which has been in a sling after he injured it in a fall, is now moving better. So, as I said, of course, we will have to wait and witness the upcoming executive orders, which are certainly being anticipated by Donald Trump in the next few hours, of course, as he moves across into the White House to take up residence at 1500 Pennsylvania Avenue. And no doubt, of course, it's an area that is no stranger to him, returning there for another term in office. Of course, Mr. Trump has also not been a fan of the matter of climate change. And we do know that this still remains a very serious existential challenge to the entire world. And of course, America being the world's largest per capita emitter of carbon dioxide, and the impact, of course, of that on climate change has now been proven scientifically. In fact, 2024 being recently pointed out as the year that we've seen the largest increase in 1 year in terms of emissions. And so it does not appear that we are, in fact, slowing down in that regard across the world. And so that matter will certainly be a very, very difficult one moving forward for countries like St. Lucia, small island developing states, which are hoping to be able to get assistance to deal with climate adaptation and to deal with the impacts of the losses and damages that come from the ever more regular and frequent major weather events, particularly, of course, hurricanes right here in the Caribbean. And it will certainly be a matter to perhaps interest the mind of Dr. James Fletcher, of course, former St. Lucia Minister for Sustainable Development. He is, in fact, taking up a new role. It has been announced as the climate and envoy for the Caribbean community, CARICOM. And just to share that very quickly with you, Dr. James Fletcher, former St. Lucian Minister for Public Service, Information Broadcasting, Sustainable Development, Energy, Science and Technology, has been named CARICOM Climate Envoy. The appointment, which took effect January 1st, reflects the region's efforts to ensure its climate priorities are effectively addressed at the highest diplomatic levels. The decision to establish the role of a climate envoy was made by the CARICOM heads of government in 2024 as part of a broader strategy to advocate for ambitious global climate action. In a statement on the appointment, CARICOM Secretary General Dr. Carla Barnett highlighted the region's longstanding commitment to combating climate change. Quote, CARICOM has long recognized the existential threat posed by climate change to the region's social, economic, and environmental sustainability, and there is increasing urgency to take action to ensure that limiting global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius remains viable, she said. Dr. Fletcher has earned widespread recognition as a dedicated climate change advocate. During his tenure as a minister, he played a pivotal role in the Caribbean's 1.5 to Stay Alive civil society campaign, which was focused on the critical need to cap global warming at 1.5 degrees Celsius to protect vulnerable regions like the Caribbean. His leadership extended to the global stage when he was invited by the president of COP21 to join the ministerial team that helped forge the landmark Paris Agreement. Dr. Fletcher's contributions to that historic consensus earned him recognition from the climate advocacy group Global Optimism. In addition to his diplomatic and advocacy efforts, Dr. Fletcher has contributed significantly to the body of knowledge on climate change in the Caribbean. His works include the publication Where is the Justice? An anthology of Caribbean youth perspectives on the climate crisis. So congratulations to St. Lucian Dr. James Fletcher on being appointed to become the CARICOM's climate envoy. And certainly the challenges in this respect, as I mentioned, are many, but also to see how it would be possible to pick up the pace with respect to climate finance, which has been still a major stumbling block for many countries, in as much as there is some money out there, though not all that is required. It has certainly been challenging for many countries to be able to actually access those funds because of the sometimes arduous bureaucracy and red tape that has to be overcome to be able to, in fact, get meaningful programs and projects within their own national territories. Of course, we'll be discussing that and many other matters tomorrow and for the rest of the week. And we do hope that you can join us for that. I'm your host, Calix George Jr., saying goodbye.